What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. My name is Sean Sheehan. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Caolan Loughran today before his big fight at UFC 304, which goes down in Manchester. We're only a couple of months out from it now, Caolan. First of all, the phone. Tell us what happened to your phone this morning and why we have you in the back camera here. Right? Just to get straight into it there, go on, because this is the best story I've heard in a long time.
I can't see Sean, he can't see me because I went to sit down after training there on the sofa and sat back and dropped my phone into my cup of tea. So the front camera's fucked, but somehow the back camera's still good, so I can't see myself or you, lad.
How big of a phone is it? Now, here's the cup of tea. It's a big enough cup of tea, so that explains it.
It is. That's unbelievable. There's no two ways about it.
No, I
actually
have
gospel. That's not lying. That's the truth.
Yeah, I know. I saw the back camera. I can attest to that 100%. Yeah. It's funny. You're the second fighter I've seen breaking their phone. Kenny Makahana was weighing in above in Dublin. He's absolutely smashed his phone in the way, and so it's not the first time to happen on my watch anyway.
I don't spend big on phones, but cheap phones, because they don't last me a crack. Drop them all the time.
I know a lot of people like that, and they do spend big on phones. They're better off not spending big on phones. So you're dead right. You're smart. Come here. The opponent, Ramon Taveras, just announced there, Neil broke the story over in Severe Men a couple of days ago. What do you think of him? Are you the type of person that you get the name and you immediately go and you watch him? Or do you leave the coaches do that, or is it late? What way do you do it?
I do. I honestly, this is God's honest truth. He fought against Saidi in the Canadian show, whereas I was in America, and he won. And I honestly thought with a win, I kind of keep an eye on the whole division, and as soon as I didn't recognize his name immediately, but then as soon as I got his face, I was like, oh my, I know him. After that fight, I kind of half locked in and watched him a few fights, because I always try to keep an eye of guys that I could potentially be fighting around similar records in the UFC and stuff like that. So, yeah, but I absolutely do look into him, and he's good, lad. Do you know what it is? He's not the best, but he's dangerous. He's powerful backhand. You know what I mean?
What do you think of obviously he fights out of southpaw an awful lot, and I love asking fighters about fighting southpaws, because I feel like it's more usual now than it once was, but is it a big adjustment for you in camp?
Oh, it absolutely is. I'm actually very excited to it, because I actually lost. I usually like fighting southpaws, given a bit of preparation for them, but I actually have one loss in my pro career, and it was to a southpaw, albeit it was a late minute change to southpaw, but I actually like fighting them. So the fight was 10 weeks out, Saturday past, but today was officially training camp where it all really, really, really dials in. But I've been training 2 times a day for the last 3-4 weeks. And the last 2 weeks I've been only with southpaws, only drilling for southpaws. So it does change, but again, this time I have a training camp to prepare for. But if you're given a training camp, I actually really enjoy it. I like the front foot battle. I love watching good stuff like Usyk at the weekend, the way he has a master. I actually love watching it, the way they can create that angle on the outside where I'm going to be fighting against that. So no, I'm actually really excited to compete against southpaw, considering I have one loss in my pro record and it's 2 a southpaw. So I'm excited, lad.
What is it? What is the difference with southpaws? Obviously, they're standing in a different stance, but like it seems like they're more kind of sideways to you and open for maybe the big back kick or the big hook coming in top. What are the big differences in some of the things you'd be looking for any, not just from Ramon, but for any southpaw?
Well, this guy is not a kicker. He's literally a boxer. He's a stereotypical southpaw boxer. He waits for you to come out to the right hand. He comes over the back, over the top with his left hand. So basically, he wants to do is, for anyone who knows him fighting will know that he wants his foot on the outside of my foot. He wants to angle off, play with this lead hand, and get me to shoot my right hand short so he can counter with his left. He's very good at it, and he's got power. He's getting a low base, low center of gravity, so he's quite dangerous if you play his game. Southpaws for the wrestling, it's actually quite common that like Kobe Covington, Islam Makhachev, they're actually right-handed. But in wrestling, a lot of guys, like my own wrestling coach, Mike Grundis, I had a 1-to-1 with him this morning. They'll wrestle the opposite way than what a boxer would stand. So they're strong leg with right hand lead. So like Where if you're an orthodox, well, again, Lomachenko and Usyk, they're actually right-handed, but stereotypically a southpaw would be left-handed, so he'd stand with his right foot forward and fight out of this stance. But a lot of wrestlers are right-handed, but they've got the right leg forwards. They just come into MMA and keep that stance, like Kobe and stuff. They're actually right-handed. It can be quite tricky, but he's stereotypical left-handed southpaw. He wants the foot on the outside. For the shooting on them, they're always very good. I'm kind of going off one here. They're always very good to defend single legs because everybody always, Darnell used to be, before his wrestling went to dogs, but he used to be very good to defend the southpaw single leg in my gym because it's just there, it's right in front of you. You just grab it, so they become very good just banging their hip in. So the attacks have to change. The double A can be quite rich. Just there's ways around it, but it is interesting. I'm actually really excited. There's a few battles that go on before the big shots land, if that makes sense, or before your entries can be on. So I'm excited that he is. If you are stupid and play his game, he's dangerous because of that. Exactly what I'm talking about there. You know what I mean?
So watching your style down through the years, I remember we talked about it before. I think it was before the Cage Warriors fight, and I was fascinated by your style to kind of like very much take the center, play the kind of the big tall man and kind of just dominate the area that you want to dominate. Right. But I think it's definitely been adjusted since you got to the UFC. For someone like Ramon, who even if we forget about the southpaw for a second, like he is this draw you in counter striker. Is that tough for your style? Because your style is kind of not necessarily draw you in. You will attack people and you will go forward with shots and you will go forward with wrestling as well. But you kind of like them to come to you a little bit as well, don't you? Is that kind of something you want to, that'll have to be adjusted for this fight, or is it something you feel like your style can adjust on the fly?
Well, I don't want to give too much away because I already have a exact. I'm 10 weeks. I literally know exactly what I want to do. I know my game plan. I know exactly what I want to do. Really watched them with my coaches, sat down, we've drilled, we've talked. I literally know what my game plan is. I just know this is day one training camp. I've got 9 weeks of pure boredom, just hard wiring it into myself. Do you know what I mean? That's just the way it is. Yeah. I think that's the correct way. That's my way to prepare anyway. And I've guys that like I'm going to take guys into like emulate him and stuff. But he's a counter puncher. I believe I'm a better counter puncher. The way to beat counter punchers, is to feint and first and third, as they say. So without giving too much away, I think I'm a better counter puncher than he is. But we'll see the way he approaches. Sometimes he comes forward. Sometimes he openly puts himself. He's actually a bit of a clever cunt the way he kind of comes out in the back foot and half decent look at you. I like that. I like guys like I always heard Michael Caolan in the. Michael Caolan was asked in the amateurs who's the best amateur you ever seen? Who's the best on the circuit? And he says, Lomachenko. He says no one was close to Lomachenko. He says it'd be a three round fight. And he says he wouldn't throw a punch in the first round, and he would still win every single time. He just look at you. So I actually like that. To be fair, with Ramon does it. He's quite clever that way. But I think I'm better at his game than him. He is definitely dangerous, though. That is not. I'm not disputing that. Like usually when he hits a man clean, they stay hit. So I'm excited. To fight him, definitely.
What is the preparation going to be like for fighting in the middle of the night? I know that obviously you're training in Liverpool and it's only up the road, and usually be like, that's kind of, basically home game, but it's a bit different, this one, isn't it? Have you thought about that, or is it something you're going to prepare for?
I have that. To be honest, the first fight's at 11. It's a big paper. The very name of the main card, Molly and Nathaniel aren't on that, so they're probably going to be on after me. So the first fight's 11. I'd say I'm not going to be too bad, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
When I fought for the Cage Warriors title fight, that was at like 20 to 12 PM, and nobody told me it was going to be that late until the day of. I found out it was going to be like, I thought it was going to be normal fighting at 9 o'clock, but local time it was like nearly 12 o'clock by the time the fight got going, and that was with literally no preparation. Once like adrenaline gets in and stuff, it was literally no problem whatsoever. But this time I will. I know about it, so I might as well fucking prepare for it. We're basically just going to train, and then maybe this week I'll start already. But as again, I am for 10 weeks out. I'll be 9 this Saturday. I'm going to go for a light jog and then a hard shadow boxing at like 12 midnight. And as it comes closer, Gilly says he started to pad me in the last couple of weeks on just to have my normal week, and then on the Saturday night just wake the body up, and then as it comes to the last week to 10 days, I'll probably train at that time. You know what I mean? Say I don't think I'll be too bad. Being 100% honest, if I was Leon or Tom, I actually don't know what the fuck I would do. I don't know. I actually have no idea. I heard Dan Hardy saying it'd be good going to Vegas.
Yeah, makes
getting
sense.
like making and then like fucking getting sunlight at that time stuff. It's actually very interesting. I'd like to hear what the likes of Leon, because I'm obviously I'm buzzing to be sharing a car with Leon, like to fight my man with that level. I'm actually really excited. I'd actually like to know what he plans to do, because I don't think anyone actually has. I don't think anyone actually knows what you should do there. It's just a fucked up situation, but it's something new. But for me, I'd say I'd not be too bad. But the thought of having a fucking 12 o'clock on a Saturday night with my week's training just to getting away on my own, I actually kind of like it, to be honest.
A good part as well is you don't have to plan the after party. You have a full after party just to watch the rest of the fights afterwards. So you'll be there till 6 o'clock in the morning.
Sunday of the day to in Liverpool for anyone who's coming.
Oh God, that'll be fun. Well, you talked about Leon Edwards there, and I know every time I talk to you, you mention. See, even you're talking about Lomachenko and lads there. You mention different fighters you look up to, and I'm always fascinated by that. And I've been asking lots of people I've been interviewing recently, funnily enough, I was kind of creeping on your Instagram there, and I saw a picture of you when you were young with McGregor. Is he one of the people? Because sometimes we look at the lads like yourself who are not in SBG, or we even saw a little bit with Ian Gary. He looked up to him and all. Is he one of the guys you looked up to, or are there other lads coming up that you kind of massively looked up to?
Well, of course, I was looked up to McGregor. Like anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. Now he unfollowed me in that, so but I don't care.
Did he? Why? What happened?
It's just petty stuff, lad. I jokingly said, there's one stout lad's talking about Guinness and thing, and he's like chimed in, then unfollowed me, deleted the tweet saying he was about me and stuff, and then I don't know. It is what it is. I don't care. I actually would like to make up the guy, like, but I'm not gonna like actively fucking like I won't lose sleep over it that way. But there was a time, of course, and even still, like his fight's coming back. Like I've only been going with my girlfriend now just over a year, but she was only kind of half in MMA, and now she's massive in it. But she was saying to me about like, what's McGregor like? What's his fights like? And I says, oh fuck, just like even the weigh-ins the week of, like different levels. So of course I looked up the Conor, especially when I was in school and getting into this game. I looked up to him, maybe not even like stylistically, like not even just like, but just like people who can like draw that attention to the cage and that type of hoopla and their mentalities. That's kind of what I look forward to, because I I love MMA. I honestly could watch fucking Ian Gary circle away, kick a man's leg, not get touched, or watch Islam Makhachev take a guy down, squash him. And honestly, I have no preference. I love all technique. It's kind of just like the mind I get drawn in by. Now he's probably like Dustin Poirier, the way he talks about his journey, and that's one of the reasons why Greg or unfollow me. But just the way he talks about the journey and coming through defeat and building his whole career with ease, I like him. Ultimately, I'm a fan of the sport, and the boys are at the top of the sport. I'm no one's fanboy, but I get I'm interested to watch them train and compete.
For someone, say like you mentioned Leon, but I always look at Volkanovski as well. I feel like it's very hard. It's very hard for someone, say like myself, like who doesn't fight, or people who are fans of the sport, to actually understand why they are great. While we can kind of see it and we understand they're dominant, for you looking at lads like that, is it the little intricacies, the small things they do that other people don't do, that kind of not only kind of fascinate, but you want to emulate that as well, like and to be that perfect kind of.
Volkanovski is probably, if I was to pick at all time number one, I'd say Volk's probably similar body types of just he's probably just the way his mentality and how he applied himself to sport, and his wee training vlogs of how like his work ethic is insane. But actually, he doesn't do anything that overly insane. Like he's not fucking like that nut job Pereira doing backflips. Like it's just dead basic. He's just always doing something. And I was very static, and I kind of got into this fucking Canelo. I'll walk around County, and I learned a lot off. The Lapalus defeat, that can't even put into words. Like that was like 10 years of MMA training in 15 minutes. In that's like it was unbelievable. I almost to be thankful for the content for the lessons learned. But Volkanovski was like he's never settled in front of. He's always doing something. a wee half angle change might look like nothing. A wee tiny feint, a wee stop jab, just something hitting you, doing something. You're never quite settled. He's always controlling you. So yeah, I took a lot from him. Absolutely, I think anyone who isn't taking something from Volkanovski is probably slipping up. To be honest, is one of the goats.
100%. You mentioned the Lapalus fight there, and it's funny you put up a thing the other day. It's a year since you won the Cage Warriors belt, which is crazy. It feels like about 5 years ago. But I remember we talked after that and before you signed for the UFC, and I remember we had a very open conversation about, you know, a lot of people, myself included, were saying, "Geez, it might be a little bit too early." And you said, "Look, I understand that." And the Lapalus fight is a weird one because that isn't like Lapalus should have been in the UFC, and he should have been 10 fights in the UFC by the time you fought him. There was like a contract thing and all that. So that's we can. I think you can forget about that for a second in terms of the development. But what about you? Do you, like, when you reflect on that a year ago now, was it a little bit too early, or do you think, like, as you said, the Lapalus thing actually helped you? But let's say you didn't have the Lapalus thing and you had the Gamori fight and you won that. Like, was it all a little bit too quickly, or would you have been better off like having more fights and developing more, or do you think it was the right decision at the right time?
I think I'm a big believer in everything in life happens for a reason. It's a tricky one, because I always think I have been out. It was over in America stuff, and I know how I can fare against some big name. I'm not going to give names, not going to give it, but I know how I can do against top guys in the UFC and bantamweight. I know how good I am. Simple as that. I know how fucking good I am. If I'd have stayed in Cage Wars, the would have been exactly the same. I'd have finished every person in the second round. Like, is that even more experience? Is it? Truthfully, is that more experience? Yeah. Probably not. If I had fought Gamori, this is what I tried to talk like casual MMA fans. They're just, I listen to Bo Nickel. He says, like, there's no sport in the world where people know less but think they know more than MMA. He said, like, see, like a casual MMA fan, like, I came through. Say if I had fought Gamori, right, and then I fought Pacheco, and I was now 2-0 in the UFC, and I've got this hype, or I have the defeat to think to, what do you call him, Lapalus. It's like the casual fans like, oh, he's undefeated, he's an animal, he's this, he's that. But then you've got this other scenario. It's like, if I have, say if my next fucking 5 fights were against the top prospect coming into the UFC who's 8-0, or a fucking 26-7 nut job that nobody knows. Give me that fucking prospect 100. Give me them for the rest of my career, because there's like literally no comparison. But you couldn't explain this to people. Think this it's like not, you couldn't explain this to them. Now am I sitting there saying like all the Lapalus fights, like, I'm a fucking winner, I don't want to fucking lose? Absolutely 1,000,000%. That's like, if he walked past me, like, I would start getting going, of course. Like, it's just, I'm not a loser. I don't want to be a losing mentality. Defeat is not good, but there is, of course, benefits to it. I think I've always made the right decision. I wanted to go to the UFC and sign with the UFC, so yeah, I think it's the right decision. I'm a much better fighter than I was against Pacheco in Atlantic City from the lessons of that, let alone Lapalus, let alone back a year ago with Hazan. So no, lad, I think everything happens for a reason, and I'm happy the way it all panned out, you know.
Plus, you made a lot of friends over in France, didn't you?
Yeah. Do you know what, lad? I think they like me. That's the truth. They kind of have to. Some, I think they pretend, like, not pretended, but they liked to hate me. But now I think they like me. I don't know. Maybe not.
I think it was a Pacheco fight. Michael Bisping was saying you were getting death threats and all. Is that true?
I was the messaging, like, in there. Says you're getting stabbed up in Paris. You it, and I was like, one boy replied to him. I goes, okay, lad, just let me fight first.
That's the most Irish reply to a death threat I've ever heard of my life. I want to ask you 2 more things. I appreciate time. You spoke about going to America, and I know you don't want to maybe give away everyone you were training with, but you were training with Henry Cejudo. What was that like? A guy, obviously, you know, you talked about body shape, similar body shape to yourself as well, maybe a little bit smaller, obviously, but like one of the top guys in the world for the last few years. It must have been great training with him.
Truthfully, Henry got injured about the first week I was there, so I didn't get much hands-on training with Henry because he had a grade 1 tear in his groin. I didn't tell anyone this coming up, but I literally knew he wasn't going to beat Merab. He hadn't. Like, I knew if first and foremost, if there's a man in the UFC, you need to be physically fit to fight.
Yes.
Merab Dvalishvili. So I kind of knew that was going to go the way it went. But I got a lot of advice from a lot of conversations. And he had, I'll tell you one thing I took above all from Henry Cejudo. So they put me up in a fucking house and all. They gave me everything. They sorted me. It was unbelievable. Free. No charges for training. Everything was class. All sorted. And Henry, all these guys in, he had a kid who's about to fight on Contender and like a Mexican Olympian. Just guys to replicate Merab Dvalishvili. And it was just purposeful errors. He wasn't doing all the other classes. It was everything he was doing on the mat was prepared to beat Merab. Even if he was injured, it was like wee drills for Merab. It was pads for Merab. And the guy, he spent money to bring them guys in, to fly them in. It was very specific to the competition he was about to compete in, as it should be. So that's something I've took in from him. And my coach Caolan was always on to Tom Aspinall, always on Darren Till. You invest your paychecks into getting these guys in the way they do it in like a boxing setup. And now the way Caolan is made, it's very specific to me. And selfishly, I think that's how it has to be. A lot of the training, like I'm there for me. Of course I'm there helping the training partners sparring if I'm not in camp. But whenever, like the next 9-10 weeks, a lot of the classes, a lot of my drilling, everything is going to be about fighting this guy. That's why I don't like the late change up, but that's a different fucking. It is what it is.
Is that a hard thing though? Like so you want to improve as a fighter overall, but then you have to prepare for this one specific guy. Do you have to do you do that outside of camp, or is it a bit of both in camp?
Yeah. Well, I think I will improve the next 9 weeks. My boxing and counter ability and feinting game, my ankle game, that's all going to improve from preparing for this guy. So it's kind of like do you know what I mean? My entries, or entries I tend to use on southpaws and stuff in general. So you can improve, but it's going to be like, if that makes sense, it's going to be like quite a tunnel
specific
improvement. If that makes sense, like it's going to be, I'm not going to be fucking getting good at fucking M&I rolls the next 10 weeks. You know what I mean? I'm going to be going good at what I want to do in the fight. And I think that's kind of how it should be, you know. But that's something I got from Cejudo. And just the couple of, like, that man's forgot more about this sport than I fucking learned. He's a 2-time UFC champion. He's someone I absolutely looked up to, so it was cool to be out there. But that was something I got from just the trying to, even I thought it was a wee bit much, to be honest. They like the wee fucking, your man was fucking like announcing them for his spars and stuff. He just tried to get his whole sessions as much to the fight as he could, which I thought was quite cool, you know.
How did you end up out there? Did they bring you out there, or did you go out there to train yourself? How did it work?
We had a common training. There was a guy comes over to our gym from MMA Masters. He was a D1 wrestler, Sheehan. He had been out before, and Cejudo was going to take him in as part of the Merab. Really, really, really good wrestler, really, really athletic guy. And it just came out that he was too big. So he was for Merab, because he's the guy's like big feather, so Cejudo didn't want him. And thing got up. I'd been sparring with him, and he got on to Santino, which is like the wee redhead coach in the corner for Cejudo when he fought the meets and stuff. Like this guy's really, really good, really intelligent, really, really technical coach. I got a lot of work with him. And he got me on me and Santino talking as if I should come in. So I was dead just talking away to him, and got a good race up. I expect to go out maybe after this one, like again, at least sometime this year. You know what I mean?
Last question. As I said earlier on, I was looking through your Instagram and I saw one post for, I think it was 2017, and you kind of put up that your goal was to be the #1 in Ireland. Is that still? Is that still the goal? Is like, do you want to be like? Do you want to look at Ian Gary and look at the others and kind of get past it? And not to have anything bad happen to them or anything, but like, if you become the best fighter in Ireland, you know, you're probably going to be a champion or very much a contender or something. Is that still a goal you look at?
Of course, like there's talks like UFC Dublin come back and it's going to be Ian like that. I'd be lying if I said that didn't half annoy me. That was never my goal to be the fucking prelim guy in that card. Like fuck that. that was not, but I don't want him to fail for me. Like absolutely, no, I'm actually fucking fair play. He's actually flying, and of course I want to see him do well. Of course, do. But my goal was to be the man from around here. It always will be. Absolutely, 100%. I was
in Tehran for the first time there 2 weeks ago. Beautiful country, lovely country. I love the pride they have above there. It's absolutely fantastic. So,
what part of Tyrone were you in?
I was in Strabane. I was in Donegal, so I went up to Strabane for a bit of shopping and stuff. So it was great. It was nice to be there. It was the first time ever, so it was lovely. And just the football isn't going great this year, is it? Donegal are kind of taking over.
Well, to be honest, we just won the under-20 All Ireland there the weekend, but the seniors and all that, there's a bit of a transition period in Tyrone at the minute. There wouldn't be Limerick. Wouldn't be Limerick hurling how they wouldn't.
I'm telling you, 5 in a row is coming. Well, maybe by the time this comes out, we might be out the championship, but who knows? Anyway, Caolan, thank you very much. Best of luck in the fight coming up. It's an unbelievable card, so it's great. Your first pay-per-view as well. It's absolutely fantastic. So best of luck for that, with that, and we'll talk to you after it.
Thank you very much, lad. Anytime.
Lovely.